Thanks, Bronwyn. I was told if I put some gifs of some cats or kittens in here, it would be a lot more successful, but I haven't done that, so I'm getting a bit worried now. So I was asked to do a talk, and I started to think about the big differences between when I was leaving art college back in the UK 20 years ago, and what it's like for you guys now, and what you're going to be going through in the next 6 months. And I think the really big difference, and it sounds a bit strange, but the really big difference is when I left, if you told someone you wanted to be a graphic designer, they kind of look at you like you're speaking a different language. It really wasn't something that people knew anything about, and it was just people. If you try to explain to your mum, for instance, forget about it. It was just not going to happen. I'm sure even now, my mum has absolutely no idea what I've been doing for the last 20 years. And I think the difference is, the other big difference is, I felt like I didn't really know anything when I left uni. I felt like, I was just kind of thrown in, and you had to kind of make your own decisions, and you had to make your own mistakes, and then, because no one really gave us any advice about what to expect. I think that's another big difference. Then the computers came along, the internet came along, everything changed, and now, you've got hundreds of design blogs, conferences, all kinds of books and sites you can look at. So I think you guys are in a really good position, and you're a lot more savvy than we were. And I think that's very, very different to how we were. So I'm thinking, what kind of advice can I give you? What have I learned that might be able to help you guys? So just quickly, who am I to offer advice? That's a good question. I've been working for 20 years in 3 different continents. I've worked in the UK, worked in Singapore for 7 years. I worked over east in Melbourne and Sydney for a while as well. Worked for a lot of very big branding companies, and a lot of smaller boutique design studios, which I much prefer. And I worked as an external examiner for an advisor for Singapore's LaSalle University, College of the Arts. Okay, who is Zebra? Zebra are actually only 2 people. It's actually myself here in Perth, and my business partner Michelle Tranter, who's still based out in Singapore now. We formed in 2007. We're working at a company called Brand Union. We're a small studio. We've done some work for some pretty big clients. We have American Express as a long-time client. We've done some work for Livingbrand. We did their flagship shop in Jakarta. We did a lot of work for Ogilvy. We did some stuff for Ridhwaan. So a lot of our big clients, mostly brand identity work. We've been very lucky. We've had a lot of our work in magazines and books like IDA and Desktop, brand magazines. So we've been pretty lucky. That's us in our studio in Singapore. That's our books and some of our toys. It's very important, if you want to be a good designer, you have to have a really good collection of toys. And the more obscure Japanese toys you can get, the more respected you'll be. Okay, so what work have we done? I've got a couple of projects from here in Perth. One of them is 140, which you might have seen. Now, 140 is the retail wing of the 140 William building in the city. And we got this job to create the identity and the wider visual language for it. Now we knew at the time there's no way it could compete with the retail shopping centres around, because it just didn't have the shops. The place itself was very dark and dingy. It just wasn't a great look. So we knew we had to do something very, very different. And just go on the fact that they had these ties with the fashion world. They do the Perth Fashion Festival every year. They have a lot of ties with local arts. And as I say, the fashion studios. We had this idea that they should get these street artists in, do a lot of graffiti work, just basically in a very different way. They have, the pop-up stores, the boutiques that other places don't have. So that was the identity we did, which is pretty different from what you'd expect a shopping centre to look like. So I'll just show you some of these slides of the work we've done, some print work. Things like badges, fun things. That was the original idea we had to paint the back, with some crazy street art. And they've finally done this now, which is really good. We've done some illustration work for them, more print work. I think early last year we changed the identity slightly, put it into a circle. It was a lot more easy to manage. Another one we got from doing that work was the Hertzman. Now the Hertzman, obviously well known in the church and store, but they opened a store in 140 as well. And we designed the interior space, did things like uniforms, posters, and an ad campaign for them. Really fun job. We didn't do anything with the logo, but we had the colour, the orange colour, the dark grey, and we just did a lot of handwritten stuff. Great fun. We use all these kind of little bit cliche lines, but it saves us having to pay a copywriter. So life is just a break between meals, things like be a good egg, use your loaf. We wrote on everything basically. Had some fun with this one. Motorjar is an online fashion boutique in Singapore, and they're up against companies like ASOS and Net-a-Porter. We came up with the idea of using a bird icon that symbolises freedom and freedom of expression, because a lot of the designers they sold, the clothes through them were students, or people that just entered the industry. So that was the identity we did, with a bird inside the O. Did some brand graphics for that. The interesting thing about this job was that it was done really, really cheap, because it was a really low budget job, you know. And sometimes you want to take these low budget jobs on because, you know, you're not going to get paid a great deal of money, but they're just really fun to do, and they're nice photo pieces. So that image of the girl was a royalty-free stock library image. We just silvered her over, just put this black paint over the top of her. The stationery was just like, you know, black. We printed onto orange cards. Very, very simple. Again, these images are just royalty-free images, we just cut them out and put them as backgrounds. But it still looks pretty slick, so. Things like the bags, really simple. Just very black and white, very simple. Okay, so after showing you that, what advice would I offer? This is a bit random, by the way. You know, there's no real order for showing this, but be different by being yourself. There's a one-line sentence that says, be yourself as everyone else has already taken. But what I mean by that is, you know, there's nothing wrong with putting your own personality into your work. You know, if you gave a specific job to 10 different studios, all the work that would come back would be completely different. So there's not one right way of doing something. So, you know, put your personality into work, but don't necessarily follow trends and styles, because that kind of thing can date your portfolio. If you had your whole portfolio and it was very based on a certain style, in a couple of years' time you'd have to redo it again, because it could be out of date. Okay, be curious, this is obvious, but be curious, ask questions, learn as much about your clients as you can. Know the brief you're working on inside out. If it's a bad brief, rewrite it. We do this all the time because clients cannot write briefs. They're really rubbish to write briefs. So you get the brief back and you rewrite it. And when you do that, you involve the client in the process, so they feel like they're collaborating with you. And that's a really good thing to do. You know, if they feel like they're working with you on a job rather than you're going away and just giving them some work back, they feel like they're part of it and they own that more. It's a much better way to work. Be brave. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. What I mean by this, it's good to feel out of your comfort zone. You know, if you get asked to do a piece of work and you think, I can't do that, I don't have any experience in that, take it. Take it and learn on the job. Because you'll work it out, you know. Or say if you get offered a job over East and you don't know anyone, you have no idea of anyone there, you know, be brave and just do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? So things like that, you know, it's good to feel like you're not completely in control. If you feel safe and your work, you know, you're quite happy with it, you're not going to do the best. You're not going to do the best work you could possibly do. Okay, so be proactive and make your own opportunities. Because no one's going to call you out of the blue and offer you your dream job. It's just not going to happen. So, and even if you get your first job, it won't be your dream job. It takes a while to build into, to find a position you're really, really happy with. So carry on doing your own projects. You know, design posters, sell them on your site. Most of you guys will have your own sites now. We didn't have that when we left. It's a really good thing to get your name out there. Start a design blog or write for someone else's. And you don't need to wait permission from anyone. And don't wait for a brief or a client. Just start doing the work you want to do now. There's no reason why you can't. And if you can't find a job that you really like, start your own company. You don't need much. You just need your computer equipment. You just need a printer. Go into business with one of your friends, you know. You just need one client to start you off and try and get some PR based on that work. And you know, Melbourne-based Motherboard, they started straight from uni. They've never worked anywhere else. Three of them got together, started their own company. They do fantastic work. Or freelance to get a good idea what certain studios are like and get experience that way. Okay, I think this is really important. Show ideas and thinking. Work without an idea is just decoration. That's very true. So it's great to have an idea, even if it's a small idea based on an identity or something that you can base the rest of your, base the rest of the project on. Be original with your thinking. Look at reference, but always start a project with a blank piece of paper and a pencil. And learn to write. This is a really good thing. Learn to write, because being able to write is a big plus. You know, you can write your own copy, a very, very simple copy. You can write your own rationales for jobs. As I say, you can rewrite briefs. It's really a really good thing to be able to write. What I mean by ideas, I'll just show you three very simple logos that we've done for Zebra in the last few years. And this is for a a consultancy a business management consultancy in Singapore called Affinity. And it's a gift because the two apps turn around to each other, they have an affinity with each other, so that's really simple. This is for a private jet company called VJets, based in India and Singapore. And the idea, you put flight into the B monogram. It's just got a bird in there. Nice little simple idea. This is for a environmental business conference. And the idea is to have a brain that's also a tree. Also a very simple one for kids netball in Singapore. The little dot over the I becomes the ball, and the N becomes the net. Okay, so I think this one for me is probably the most important one, because this is the hardest thing. As creative people, a lot of us are kind of introverted people, we're not extroverted people. We don't like to get up in front of a huge audience and talk. And your work could be amazing, but it's not going to present itself. It just won't. So you have to learn how to present work, whether that's just you in front of one client, or you in front of a whole boardroom of directors. I've done it for the biggest bank in Indonesia, and I had to get up in front of the board of directors, all sat there, first thing in the morning, all there in their suits. I'm stood up there trying to sell the work, because that's basically what we're doing in a way. It sounds a bit harsh, but you've got to sell your idea, sell your work. So there's a few little tips. One is by going over the brief again with the client, so they know exactly what the problem is you're trying to solve. And then make sure you can rationalise your work well, be able to talk through the process of the work you're presenting, explain your thinking clearly and simply, and try to avoid design jargon. We can often get caught up in this design jargon where you use these big words to describe it. Your client won't know what you're talking about. So you're not helping anyone with doing that. So just speak in really simple terms, and they'll get that, and they'll understand it a lot easier. This is the famous Anthony Burrell saying, and I've got a print of this on my desk, and if there's any times that I want to start swearing at my clients because they're really annoying me, I look at that and I try and be nice. And this applies to everything. This applies to every kind of career that you're in. Work hard and be nice to people. Listen to others, be humble, take advice, ask questions, offer to help. You could be a fantastic designer, but if you're arrogant or you're not nice, no one's going to want to work with you. So it's just a really simple thing, just to be nice, get on with people. And this bit is not meant to scare you, but working in the real world is different to uni. And what I mean by that is you don't get as much time to work on projects. I remember at uni we used to get 2 months to work on a project. And in the real world you might get 2 weeks if you're lucky. So, you've got to learn to work faster. And it takes time. It's not something you're going to be having to worry about straight away, but people are paying you for your work. So you've got to just, get into that mode of working a bit quicker, working smarter, get into the good ideas quicker. Okay, so forget money for now. You do it because you love it. I mean, most of us that have been around for a while do this job not to make money. You'll make a living, you might make some money out, but you do it because you love it. I don't see it as a job. I love doing it. I love being creative. I love creating logos. I love to create things and then see them on a big sign up on a building. It's the best feeling in the world. Or to see an ad that you've done, printed in a magazine, with record covers, whatever. Fantastic. So do it because you love it. As an intern, you might not, you might need to work somewhere else, get a part-time job, which I'm sure you will know already, just to pay the bills. The money might come later. That's if you're the next step in stacking my stuff, and you spend your time in the design conference circuit and sell tons of books. Okay, we're getting to the end now. So I think this is also really important. Never stop being a student. I still consider myself a design student. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know, and I'm always learning. So learn about all the different types of art, like constructivism, international typographic style, Bauhaus, pop art. All this stuff is really important to learn. And the guys like Saul Bass, Paul Rand, the great guys, especially for me, the great identity guys from the 60s and 70s, their work is still so relevant now, and you can learn about these guys, learn so much from them. And there's some great books. I think the best book for you guys to read if you haven't already is How to Be a Graphic Designer Without Losing Your Soul by Aidan Shaughnessy. That's definitely worth getting hold of if you can. And that is it. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. That was excellent. So what we'll do now, we'll invite all the professionals to come and find a seat. So obviously sitting every second chair. Students, if you can sort of wait at the back there, your ushers will make themselves known to you. We'll start off with getting as many professional seats as we can, and we'll make a start.